Hello everyone, my name is Matt Savina from Maestropia Music, and today's little lesson is going to be over how to improve yourself or your business online in April 2020. And I think you all know why I'm saying April 2020, because the next month, and many of you have already started transitioning online, is going to be a month of, again, most of us being at home and trying to do whatever we can to, keep life moving and moving in a forward direction and not just stale, not just bored watching movies or cleaning or whatever that you're doing. But I'd really like to help whoever I can from my own experiences, because I've been transitioning the last 2, 3, 4 years, probably 5 years if I really look back at the things I was doing and what my goals were musically, or to be able to help other people through music, because that's always been a passion of mine. So this is going to be fairly short, but you can apply these things to music or a different occupation, totally different business. These are not meant to be specific, related to things like, how do I market my business? Or how do I go online and find this particular class or something that I want to take? It's not meant to be a specific guide. It's meant to be generic, but it's because, and these aren't all the things that you can be doing to help transition into the online world. But like I said, they're things that I've learned from personal experience, and I'll probably share a quick story or two. Well, I can do that right now. So about 5 years ago, when I retired from the Marine Corps, I was enlisted in the Marine Corps band field for 15 years. And I did a lot of different jobs along the way with that, besides just music, playing piano or drums, different things. But I learned a lot about, when you need to learn something, how to utilize different people or different resources when you can't do it in your own strength, your own power, in your own brain, And I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot because of that, because I didn't rely on myself. And, a lot of the time it was just from trial and error. And one case I would say that now after the Marine Corps would be when I retired, and I knew I still wanted to do music, but I really didn't know how to make the transition at all. And in hindsight, I kind of regretted, not taking more classes to prepare myself. But so many things in my life I've learned from trial and error, and I learned it the hard way. But those skills and experiences are going to come in handy for you, I think, if you use some of these things. So anyhow, after I retired from the Marine Corps, that was about 5 years ago, and I had to get plugged into the online world with teaching others, finding other students, finding new students, my first students, whether it be finding them online and teaching them online, or finding them online and teaching them in person, whatever it is, or whatever it was at the time. And I was starting from scratch. And, I probably could have, found more people in my circle of friends or family who could have given me tips, but I really wanted to do it on my own. And, some of that was good. Actually, some of that was great now, several years down the road, because I did learn a lot from that process. But there were some things that I wish I would have, just sought the right person to ask them questions. So those are kind of the experiences and skills that I've learned, whether from other people or just from my own life experience, that I really want to share with you, because I've already been going through it for the last several years, and I feel really blessed that I'm, at least to a point now, comfortable in what I want to do and what I've been learning to do the last few years, that I can help hopefully even one person, maybe 10, 20, 100, I don't know. But that's important to me, and that's part of what I love about teaching music, is just helping people. So this is not necessarily a musical topic, but it could be. It could be 100% all about music. So with that being said, I've already wrote down the points that I'm going to cover today, because if you saw from my last video, my handwriting is not so great on the board. So you can screenshot this now or take a picture of it, pause it, make your own notes, whatever. This is what I'm going to cover. So I'm just going to elaborate on some of the details and why this stuff is so important. So, number one, change how you use social media or YouTube. What do I mean by that is, if you're just going online and using social media and YouTube to, talk to your friends and family, share pictures and everything, which is great. It's one of those great uses for it. You're not really even slightly tapping into the resources, the information, and the community that you can get if you're trying to improve yourself or your business. So what do I mean by that? You can go to somebody's Facebook account, somebody that you look up to for the type of business they do, or the type of person they do. Maybe they're a physical trainer or something, and you can go to that every day and use that as, as if he was in the same room with you, he or she, and telling you, oh yeah, if you want to work out, if you want to get really strong in the next 2 months or something, do these things. Instead of just listening to family and friends, who they might have some good advice in there, but I would rather go to the people who are successful now, or the people who've been successful for years. And they're not trying to sell you anything, or maybe they are. I'm not trying to sell you anything right now. Maybe they are, but that's because they have the information and they have the experience and the proven skills, all that kind of stuff. So what I mean by changing how you use it is, don't just think of it as something to, talk about politics or the weather or share pictures or whatever it is, but start to look at it as an actual resource for information, for motivation, inspiration. Part of the way I got started was on YouTube, finding inspirational videos or inspirational speakers, people who knew what they were talking about, but they were really inspiring also on how they delivered that message. For me, that was a game changer, because personally I feed a lot off of the people that I'm around, or the atmosphere, that kind of thing. So if I can find a way on a daily basis to have a more positive atmosphere, to keep things kind of running smooth in my mind, not thinking about the doubts and fears and all those kinds of things, then that is a huge game changer for me. And that was something that I only experienced through trial and error, but over time, gradually. And having a good positive mindset is huge, no matter what you want to do. And even though I've come a long ways the last couple of years, I think it's a lifelong process and you have to keep doing it. So what you feed your brain on a daily basis, weekly, monthly, it's all going to affect, how you grow as a person or in your business. Okay, so number two, practice new habits with your new free time. And I think not everybody, but I dare say most people right now have a lot more free time on their hands. So, all those excuses of, oh, I don't have time, or I got to do this, I got to take the kids here, or I got to go to this class or whatever, that excuse really isn't there anymore. So as far as practicing new habits go, we're going to get into more about maybe designing those habits, but you have to just do something every day at first. I tell my music students that if they do nothing but practice 5 minutes every day, and they successfully do that for a couple months, then bam, they have a new habit, which is a very good habit. It's a professional musical habit of practicing every day. And chances are, if you at least sit down to the desk or instrument or whatever and do that for 5 minutes, you're probably going to get caught up in it. You're probably going to do 10, 20, 30 minutes, an hour or more without even thinking about it, as long as it's something that you want to do, which we'll also get into. So start with just one habit. A lot of people, and myself, I've learned, make the mistake of, okay, I'm going to make this list of all these new things I'm going to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 10, 12 things that they want to change, on day one. And then they fail, and they wonder why. They were overwhelmed, and it just seems impossible, and hands up in the air, I give up. Pick 1 or 2 things maybe at first. Keep it simple. Try it for a week if you need to, until you get to the point where, okay, maybe I could add something. But start small. That's one of the things I've learned from trial and error. Okay, so along with the habits. So I said 30 minutes a day. Now that's a good, at least solid little chunk of time that you could use. You could start with 5 minutes, but 30 minutes, I'd say that's a good goal. That's pretty easy. Again, you have probably a little extra free time right now, so you could probably find 30 minutes to learn something you want to learn, to do something that you've been wanting to do possibly for years. So in that time, you could be studying, you could be writing down your goals. Writing down your goals is a huge one, and for years I essentially procrastinated or put it off. I heard people tell me that writing them down and planning your short and long-term goals was good, but it's amazing what happens when you actually do it. And you write it down, and writing it down just because it kind of, solidifies it in your brain. Oh, that's what I want to do. Yeah, I kind of thought I wanted to do this or that, but once you have it clearly written out and, in your head what you want to do, it's another tool that helps keep you on track, because if you don't reach that goal, say you make a 6-month goal or a 12-month goal and you don't reach it and you look back, well, that might bother you a little bit, and that's a good kind of stress, because you're going to change how you do things the next time. And then telling others is another big one that I found out. Me making this video for all of you guys is one of those steps. I've made lots of videos in the past. I've done some YouTube and Facebook videos, or just for other people, for other students lots of times. But every video I make, I learn something in the process, and hopefully each video or training or whatnot gets a little better. And it's just been from practice. I haven't taken many classes per se that would relate to, I have on editing or whatever, but I haven't really taken any classes per se regarding, how to be a good TV personality or something like that, because I really don't care to be. I just want to be, me talking to you and helping you. So it really comes down to what you want to learn, and then just steady progress, little by little, day by day, to chip away at that goal, and you will get better at it. Okay, moving on. So number 3, another thing I realized just maybe 6 months ago that was helpful to me, even though I knew what my skills were, as far as my strongest skills, and the skills that I wanted to use for what I love doing, which is primarily music-related stuff. Once I wrote those down, maybe I wrote down 10 things, but I realized that only maybe 2 or 3 of those things were the skills that I was truly the best at, and that I could help the most people with. And for me, those things all tied together. It didn't help me to be a good piano player, for me personally, if I couldn't use that to help somebody somehow. Yes, I like playing, for myself or maybe family or friends, but that's really not enough for me. So writing those things down and realizing why I wanted to do it, as far as a lifelong, career / hobby / business, that really sort of, again, solidified what I wanted to do with it. Where are we at? So write down all your skills and what do you want to do? So again, that's what I was saying. You're just trying to boil it down to what do you want to do clearly. If you want to be a music teacher, well, what kind of music teacher do you want to be? Because there's, 1,000 different music jobs out there. And the sooner that you clarify it and figure out exactly what that thing is, it's like a domino effect. It changes everything that you do after that point. And this is something that, it could take 5 minutes for you to figure out right now. So even while I'm talking, you might pause this video or do it while I'm talking, but go ahead and start writing down these skills, these things that you want to do to help figure it out. Number 4, why do you want to change? Why? That's a big question. So you may have noticed I'm writing down the why, what, how, when, where, how much, all that kind of stuff. That's a great way to look at this and kind of how I was thinking about laying this out for you. Why do you want to change? If you're not happy with where you're at now, if it's financially or with your career or family or what it is, just take small steps, towards where you want to go. And you need to be able to choose why, because if you don't know why you're doing it, it's going to be really hard to wake up in the morning when, you're feeling tired. Maybe you worked 12 hours the previous day, and you're off today, but, man, I've been stressing. Why should I work on myself or my business when I just need a day off? Which is what everybody, that's one of those first thoughts that comes into your mind on a day like that. But again, if you know why you're doing it, for me, my why is, like I said, to help others, to make, to take all the pains or sacrifices or tough times in my life and make them benefit somebody. It could possibly help you or someone skip years of pain and torment on something that I've learned is so easy to help you. And this really is, the information age. As you know, everything's going online now. And there's still going to be in-person classes, of course, and all that. But one of the best reasons, I think, for learning how to use this online world is because you can have so many more mentors and teachers that you'd never have in person. And they're all online. They're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, you name it, wherever you want to look them up. And usually these same people have a site or an account on all of those because they want to get their message out to everybody. So the why. Why do you want to do it? Why do you want to change? And then finally, one of the most important lessons I ever learned about learning, whether it's music or teaching, how to teach, how to build a business, how to improve customer service. It doesn't matter what it is. Whatever your job is, whatever your trade, your career, whatever your passion is, this is really what it comes down to, because nobody's perfect. Everybody fails. Everybody has problems. And the ones that are successful, one of the main things is that they repeat this process over and over and over again. And there's really no end to it. But you can either look at that as a positive thing or a negative one. You can either say, man, this is awesome, because if I just keep doing this process, if I try something new, fail, learn from it, I could have put an equals sign here, it equals you improving. You will be better than you were yesterday, 5 minutes ago, whatever. And trust me, I've failed at a lot of things before, and I've maybe made a new art form out of failing. But I've come such a long ways. Why? Because I didn't give up. Maybe I had a bad day after that, or maybe the day that I did fail miserably at something, maybe that day was kind of rough. Maybe I did kind of give up for a few minutes or a few hours. But the next day, most of the time, the very next day, I got back on the horse somehow, and it's like, well, that was a horrible day. At least it's over. And, I looked at it that way. And hopefully I'll be able to, keep doing that for the rest of my life. And I'm pretty confident I will, because, again, how should I say it? The more times you've gone through this process and you failed and learned from it, the failures over time, they get a little less harsh. Maybe some still bother you, but you tend to be better at dealing with it. You're even practicing how to do this. You're practicing how to try, fail, learn, and improve. And over time, you'll get a little bit more graceful with it. For lack of a better example, if you wanted to learn how to make a video like this, or learn how to, become a music teacher and get your own students, or teach whatever it is that you're good at and you have a passion for, those first couple people that you talk with, it might be a little bit rough, and I can say that from my own experience. I can look back in hindsight now and be like, what was I thinking? That was a totally wrong way to deal with maybe, somebody I wasn't getting along with very well. I should have just kept my mouth shut and let them say what they had to say, instead of kind of getting into this back and forth argument that really wasn't going to solve anything. And if I would have thought about that at the time, I would have known that, really. It's just, maybe your emotions get a hold of you, and it just stops your brain in its tracks, and you don't do the things that you could do better. So that would be one example of, failing yourself, maybe interpersonal relationships, and how you can improve that. I mean, these topics can go so far to just about any topic. And they're very general, but I think it's good in that way, because no matter what it is that you want to learn, no matter what it is that you're passionate about doing, whether it's improving yourself or your business or somebody else or whatever, that you can do that. And this online world that everybody's getting thrown into more this coming month for April 2020, you can look at it, I've said, you can look at it as an opportunity to grow and do some new cool things that you've never done before, or you can look at it as, well, this is really, going to suck. Because I've talked to people who look at it that way, and that's a really sort of dim, that's a very dark way to look at life. And I believe that we're all created for a purpose, and we all have the ability, or we all have abilities and skills to do amazing things, and we all have different abilities. I'm not necessarily the best speaker, but I've learned from researching about it and watching other people who do the same thing, that if you're passionate about what you want to do, if it's helping people, or if it's something totally different, if you're passionate about it, you can still communicate your message pretty clearly. So instead of me worrying about, or instead of me typing up a script and I'm going to say this word for word, which I've already tried and failed at because I'm not good at following a script, because I went through that process, I tried it and it didn't work, I realized, well, you may not be the best speaker compared to someone who's great at it, someone who's a master at public speaking, but I realized that if I'm using my own experiences and I'm 100% about the information that I'm sharing, that I can do okay at it. I learned that I'm not good at writing on whiteboards. Well, I've known that for a long time, but so what did I do? I wrote this down before we started. It's the little things. Just every time you do something new, you try to improve just one little thing, and then you don't have to fix it anymore after that. So I hope this video will be helpful for some of you. I'd appreciate any comments or feedback that you guys have, or if there's possibly a follow-on sort of video that would be helpful to some of you, and I might consider doing that in the near future. I will also have a little bit more free time than normal in April 2020 to work on some things like that. I'll be working on myself and things I can improve to help all of you. So please let me know if there's any topics or anything specific that I could assist you with from my own personal experience. Really, like I said, the last 5 years, I've already been slowly transitioning all of these kinds of things in myself and in my business and my personal life and everything that I do. So thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to Maestropia Music's YouTube channel and Facebook page if you haven't already, so that any new videos that we put out, you can see them right away. But thank you very much and have a good day. Now that you have this information, what I want you to do is at least write down what your skills are. You could come up with maybe 5 to 10 things. There's no limit to this, but write down your skills, all the things that you're good at, or the life lessons that you've learned that lots of other people don't have, or they haven't gone through it yet. Write down your skills, and then figure out the reason why you want to do it. Why do you want to change? If it's just for money, is that really enough for you? Is it, if it's for, to make things easier for your family, is that enough for you? And if it is, that's okay. But write down your skills and write down your why. And then change one thing today. Make a new habit. Decide from now on, I'm going to do 30 minutes of studying on YouTube, or every day I'm going to follow this mentor that I have. So those are the few easy things that I'd like you to implement right now, and I know you can. Anybody can do this. And it's not about changing your whole world in one day. It's just about changing each day just a little bit.